I never thought I'd write about this. For most of my life, I was the quiet one, the boy who sat at the back of the classroom, the girl who whispered instead of spoke. Social anxiety was my silent companion. It gripped me in hallways, classrooms, and coffee shops. I feared being noticed, yet I feared being invisible too. Every hello felt like climbing a mountain. Every conversation left me exhausted. For years, I chose silence over connection, until one day I realized silence was costing me life. I wasn't living, I was hiding. So I made a decision to document my journey. Writing gave me courage. At first, I only wrote about feelings. Then, I began writing small goals. My first goal, say hello to one stranger. My heart raced just thinking about it. I practiced hello in the mirror 100 times. The day came and my hands trembled. I stood in line at a bookstore. A stranger beside me picked up the same novel. I whispered, "That's a good one." The stranger smiled back. My chest felt lighter than it had in years. That night, I wrote about it in my journal. I had climbed my first mountain. The next week, I set another goal. Ask a coworker about their weekend. It felt impossible, but I tried. "How was your weekend?" I whispered to a colleague. They laughed and shared a story. I didn't know conversations could feel like this. I started building momentum. Every step was tiny, but each one mattered. My journal became my mirror of progress. Slowly, people noticed me. A coworker invited me for coffee. My instinct said, "Say no," but my journal whispered, "Say yes." I said yes. That coffee became the first real friendship of my adult life. That first friendship changed everything. We laughed over silly things. We shared stories about our lives. I realized how good it felt to be seen. My journal became my guidebook. Each week, I gave myself a new challenge. Ask someone to lunch. Join a community class. Say yes to invitations. Some days I failed. I backed out of plans. I avoided eye contact, and I felt ashamed. But failure taught me something important. Progress wasn't a straight line. It was messy, awkward, and slow. And that was okay. Each yes made me stronger. Each no taught me patience. Slowly, my circle grew. I wasn't just a shadow anymore. People started calling me, inviting me to join them. I remember the first time I attended a group dinner. My stomach twisted with nerves. I almost didn't go inside. But I remembered my promise to document, to try, to keep going. So I walked in. People welcomed me with smiles. That night, I didn't just eat dinner. I felt like I belonged. That word, belonging, was new to me, and it was beautiful. Over the months, my confidence grew. I joined a book club. I went hiking with new friends. I laughed louder than I ever had before. My journal pages filled with stories of courage. But more than courage, I discovered joy. The kind of joy that comes from connection. I was no longer the silent one in the corner. I was part of the conversation. I was part of life. The more I shared, the more others opened up to me. I learned that everyone carries hidden battles. Some were fighting loneliness. Others were struggling with self-doubt. We were all searching for connection. My honesty became a bridge. People told me, "You make it easier to be real." For someone who once feared speaking, that meant everything. My journal transformed. It wasn't just a diary anymore. It became a record of growth, a map of courage, a collection of victories. I began reading back old entries, pages filled with trembling words, fear written in every line. But as I turned the pages, I saw change. Hope slowly replaced fear. Smiles replaced silence. Belonging replaced loneliness. I cried the day I realized this. They weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of pride. I had become someone I never thought I could be. Someone with friends. Someone who belonged. Someone who lived. Social anxiety didn't disappear. It still whispered doubts in my ear. "You'll embarrass yourself. They don't really like you." But now I had evidence to fight back. My journal was proof of my victories. Proof that I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. The people in my life weren't perfect, but they were real, and they were mine. For the first time, I wasn't writing about loneliness. I was writing about life, about belonging, about love. My story had changed. Looking back, I hardly recognized the person I used to be. The one who hid in corners, the one who avoided eye contact, the one who thought they'd always be alone. That version of me still exists in memory, but now I carry both versions. The anxious me taught resilience. The growing me taught courage. And together, they built the person I am today. My friendships are not perfect, but they are real. We meet for coffee on Sundays. We text each other during the week. We support one another when life gets hard. I never thought I'd have this. And yet, here I am, living it. My journal is nearly full now. Its pages tell a story of fear turned into friendship, a story of silence turned into laughter, a story of loneliness turned into belonging. And the best part? The story is still being written. I keep setting new goals, to host a gathering, to speak up in meetings, to travel with friends. Every challenge still scares me. But fear is no longer a stop sign. It's a guidepost. If I feel fear, it means I'm growing. And growth is the point. I used to dream of having one friend. Today I have many. I used to think I'd never belong. Today I know I do. And I want to tell you something. If you're reading this, hiding like I once did, you don't have to stay there. Start small. Say hello to one person. Write your progress down and keep going no matter how slow it feels. One day you'll look back like I did and you'll realize something powerful. You weren't broken. You were becoming. Becoming someone who belongs, someone who is loved, someone who lives fully. That is my story. And maybe it can be yours too. Here is the truth I learned. Fear is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of it. Social anxiety does not define you. It tests you, it shapes you, but it never has to break you. Every hello you say is a victory. Every small step builds courage, and courage builds connection. Today I have friends, I have laughter, I have belonging, and so can you. Start with one word, one step, one act of courage. That's all it takes. Because on the other side of fear is the life you've been waiting for.